Imagine waking up from a coma only to find yourself alone in the middle of the Andes Mountains. This was the horrifying reality for 22-year-old Nando Parrado. In 1972, Parrado was aboard the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 when it tragically crashed in the harsh terrain of the Andes. The initial impact claimed the lives of 12 individuals, including 3 crew members and 9 passengers. Amidst the wreckage, Parrado slipped into a coma, unconscious and oblivious to the unfolding nightmare around him. His world, as he knew it, had violently shifted in an instant. For 4.5 days, he lay in a state of unconsciousness, suspended between life and death. When he finally awoke, he found himself in a surreal and terrifying survival situation. He was stranded over 3,000 meters above sea level in the biting cold of the Andes, with no proper equipment, food or water. His fellow survivors were dwindling, and the harsh reality of their predicament was setting in. After 4.5 days, Parrado emerged from his coma into a world of isolation, extreme cold, and impending hunger. Awake and alert, Parrado faced a daunting reality: survive in the harsh Andean terrain without proper equipment, water, or food. At a tender age of 22, he found himself in a location where survival was a far-fetched dream. Day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, each moment was a struggle against the formidable forces of nature. The fuselage of the plane became their home, their sanctuary against the biting cold. This makeshift shelter was their fortress, protecting them from the unrelenting weather. But the challenge was not just external. The internal battle was equally fierce. With food scarce, they had to make a controversial and heart-wrenching decision, a pact of survival that, if they were to die, their bodies would serve as sustenance for the others. The physical hardship was excruciating, but the mental torment was even more unbearable. Imagine the psychological distress of being trapped with the bodies of their fallen comrades after an avalanche, digging their way out after 3 long days. Yet, despite the unimaginable conditions, Parrado and his fellow survivors held on to hope, even when it seemed all was lost. In the face of despair, Parrado and fellow survivor Roberto Canessa made the brave decision to hike for help. The journey was fraught with peril, a grueling 10-day trek through the unforgiving Andes Mountains. Without proper equipment or provisions, they had nothing but their determination to fuel their steps. Each day was a battle against the elements, the freezing temperatures, the thin air at over 3,000 meters, the treacherous terrain. Yet they pressed on, driven by the hope of rescue, the hope of surviving. They pushed their bodies to the brink, their spirits teetering on the edge of despair. But they held on, their resolve unbroken. The moment they found help, it was as if the heavens themselves had heard their desperate pleas. After more than 2 months of surviving where no one is expected to, their incredible journey was finally nearing an end. But it wasn't just their own survival they had secured. Their bravery and determination led to the rescue of all the remaining survivors. After 72 days of surviving where no one is expected to, Parrado's incredible journey ended not just with his own rescue but the rescue of all remaining survivors.